In this video, we're going to discuss scientific notation. Scientific notation is a convenient shorthand for expressing very large or very small numbers. So we want to get numbers from standard form into a form that's a little bit easier to write. So for instance, 50,000 is the same thing as 5 times 10,000, which is the same thing as 5 times 10 to the fourth. 5,000 is the same as 5 times 1,000, which is the same thing as 5 times 10 to the third. Okay, so let's look at some smaller numbers then. 5/10 is the same thing as 5 times 1/10 of the decimal, which is the same thing as 5 times 1/10 in fraction form, which is 5 times 10 to the negative first. 5 100ths is the same thing as 5 times 1 100th, which I can rewrite as a fraction here, which is the same thing as 5 times 10 to the negative second. So a number in the form of a times 10 to the n is in scientific notation when 1 is less than or equal to a, which is less than 10, and n is an integer. All right, so let's convert each number into scientific notation. Now remember, in order to be in scientific notation, the a here has to be a number in between 1 and 10. The only way this is going to happen is if the decimal is in between the 8 and the 9. Write out every other non-zero number. Now, how many places I've moved the decimal? Well, the decimal starts at the end right now, so I've moved it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it'll be 10 times 10 to the 7th power. And it's positive because I'm going from a bigger number and writing it with a smaller number here. Now, if you use a calculator, you can multiply this out and you should get the original number. Okay, let's take a look at this example. Now again, this is not in scientific notation. This number is not in between 1 and 10. The only way I can get this number to be between 1 and 10 is to put the decimal between the 2 and the 1. Again, we'll write out the 8. Now, let's count the decimal places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now again, smaller to a larger number, 2.18. This is going to be negative. And again, you can multiply this out to verify that you get the same answer here. Okay, so let's go in the other direction then. Let's convert each number into standard form. Now, here we have a 10 to the negative 8. That means this is going to be a smaller number. Okay? And we need to move the decimal 8 places. Well, I can move it 1, so I need 7 other places to move to the left. I can use zeros as placeholders, so I'm going to start by putting 7 zeros and then 3 1. So if we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and put my decimal there. Okay. Let's do this particular number. Now, notice the exponent power is positive. That means I'm going to be moving the decimal to the right 9 places. Well, if I move it 3, I get it past the 4, the 1, and the 2. So that means I need 6 placeholders, which means I'm going to need 6 zeros. So I'll write this. And I'm going to double check to make sure. So the decimal started here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The decimal would go here. So I'll put commas. So this number is 2,412,000,000. So we've got 2 problems I would like to finish up this video with. I want to write each expression in both scientific and standard notation. So in the first example, I'm taking 2 numbers that are in scientific notation and multiplying them together. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite it as 4 8/10 times 3 2/10 times 10 to the 5th times 10 to the negative 7th. Okay, so when I multiply 4 8/10 times 3 2/10, I get 15 3600. When I multiply these, now remember these are exponents. The bases are the same, so when I multiply, I add the powers. So 5 plus a negative 7 is negative 2. That's 10 to the negative second. So notice right now this number is not in scientific notation. This number is too big. So I need to move the decimal place over 1 to the left. So when I make this smaller, I need to make this bigger. So how many decimal places did I move it? I moved it 1 to the left. So I'm going to add 1 to the exponent, and that's going to be 10 to the negative first. Okay? Very, very easy to check. Take a look at the top. Move 2 places to the left. On the bottom, move it 1 place to the right. You get the exact same decimal, which is this. But this is in scientific notation. And this is in standard notation. Okay, one other example I want to take a look at then. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to separate. I'll do 3/4 times 10 to the 10th divided by 10 to the negative 5th. Well, 3 divided by 4 is a decimal. That's 0.75. Now, when I divide exponents, I subtract the powers. So 10 minus a negative 5, that's 15. So that's 10 to the 15th. So this is too small to be in scientific notation, so I got to move the decimal point 1 to the right. So when I do that, I got to subtract 1 here. So that's 10 to the 14th. Now, as a decimal, I've got 1 to the right, but then I need 13 placeholders. So let's see if I can write it on the screen here. Okay, so let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I'll put some commas in. So here is our answer in scientific notation. And here is our answer in standard notation.